What is going on, everybody? It's late February, and I figured I'd haven't uploaded a video for a while, so today we're going to be talking about something that I used all season, and that is the Hoyt Torrex. This is actually my new bow. I bought it at the beginning of the season, shot it even before season, and then all the way through season. Harvested a couple deer with it, and I'm just going to talk about some things that I liked about it and some things I didn't like about it. First things first, I've probably shot this thing close to 500-600 times. I shoot a lot out in the evenings after work and all that fun jazz, and just some things that I've noticed. The quiver is kind of your standard quiver. Nothing fancy, too fancy there. 4 arrows. I kind of wish it was a 5 arrow. I'll probably beef that up here in the near future. Peep side standard, kisser standard, string standard. I will say the strings probably is fraying a little bit, but I think most of that is user error due to me not exactly waxing it as much as I should. But I do put a good bit of wax on it now, but it does, maybe it's just me, it does fray a little bit. But that's the stock strings. The stock side on it is also what I'm running. This is about as bone stock as you can get minus the rest. I picked this up in Jasper, Indiana. The sight, the sight will work. It comes with stock. It comes stock on it. It's a Fuse Archery sight. It's plastic. It's actually a 5-pin. I actually broke one of the set screws for the sight for the yardage pins, which again probably a user error. I fiddle around with this stuff a lot, sadly. But it is plastic. I'll probably upgrade to something here in the future, probably a 5-pin or maybe a 4-pin metal sight. I'm just not a real big fan of the whole plastic and composite piece of that. Other thing, the thing that it comes with stock is an Ultra Rest Hunter drop away rest. I actually have the HDX on here. I had this on a previous bow, and I just swapped it over because, I had it laying around and I really wanted to use it. Now let's talk about some of the things that I like about it. It's super fast comparative to my other bows. I've had 2 other bows, a bear archery bow, which is actually in a couple of the videos, and then a alpine archery bow that you guys have never seen before, but my brother's shooting now. This bow is much faster than those other 2 bows. It's also a much higher poundage. I've got this one set on 70 pounds, which is what it comes stock all the way with. I think you can adjust the, I think it's 60 to 70 pounds, and then it's also a 26 to 30 draw length. And then you can just adjust the draw lengths by pulling out the adjustment bolts down low there. Make sure if you do change it from what your pro shop sets you up with, that it matches the letters down here. So actually, like for example, my draw length actually started out at 27 inches. I noticed that I wasn't shooting quite the groups that I was shooting with my other bow, and I felt like the other bow was set at 27.5 inches. So I came in, and on the underside of the limbs here, there is a chart that says what letter and what corresponding draw length. So I started out at C, which is 27.0, and ended up at D, which is 27.5. Once I started doing that, my group started getting a lot more consistent. So there's that. For the price range, this bow sits in right at, I think, the 800 mark. Comes stock with a sight and a drop away rest. For the price, can't really argue with that. That's kind of where I was wanting to stay in. I shot a Matthews bow and a bear bow. The Matthews bow is actually a mission bow, which I wasn't a real big fan of. I think it creaked every single time that I pulled back the pulled an arrow back, which I'm not a real big fan of. The bear archery bow, I didn't exactly like the grip. I will say, out of all 3 of those bows in the $800 price range that I had the opportunity to shoot, this one was the one that I decided to go with, obviously. The grip felt a lot better. It was a lot smoother pullback, and then it didn't creak at that time. So, as I have noticed, though, when I shoot this bow, that it does creak on the first pullback. which tells me that's probably lubrication. It'll either creak up here, and actually one time I've felt the grip creak once. Like it was almost like it had some dirt in it or something, and popped. Never did it since. I've never had an issue. I test as soon as I get up into the stand anyway. I'll pull back, and all those creaking issues, if there ever was one, are no longer issues for when it actually comes time to pull back on a deer. But overall, big fan of the bow. Pretty light, pretty good, fits really good in my hands. Axle to axle, I have no idea what this is, to tell you the truth. I wish I did so I could tell you guys, but overall I'm pretty satisfied with this bow. Would I recommend it for somebody that's starting to take archery a little bit more seriously? Absolutely. The adjustability on it, you know, with the stock rest isn't exactly the greatest. I would recommend upgrading the stock, or not the stock, the upgrading the rest to something that has a little bit more adjustability. When I say adjustability, I mean up and down and left and right. Your arrow will fly differently if your rest is not in line with your docking point. But that's a different video for a different day. Overall, super happy with this. It'll be my bow for a long time. Hopefully you guys see me shoot it a bunch at a bunch of deer. And it does me pretty good. Only negative side, it was, like I said, that creaking noise every now and then. But I think after reading up some on the forums and whatnot, I think that's largely due to a lubrication error. And maybe not a lubrication error, but a lubrication issue. So I'm going to figure that out and maybe put a couple drops of lube on these nice little green spacers there. So anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you guys about this bow. The arrows I'm shooting are nothing fancy. They are just, you know, your V4 standard blood sport, I think is what they are. I'm shooting the 350s. They wanted me to shoot the 400s, which I'm not a super big fan of the 400s. I think they're a little bit too light for a 70-pound bow. Probably could dabble into the little 300s, but that's neither here nor there. Well, I'll probably do that over the summer. And then I'm also shooting 125s, 125 serrated Magnus blades, which hard to beat the Magnus blades. They are American made, lifetime warranty, pretty well, no questions asked, as long as you don't lose the arrow. I actually had to do that a couple times this season, which is kind of down-putting, honestly. But one was definitely my fault. I shot a squirrel and it ended up into a tree. Definitely broke that due to user error. And then the other one, I actually shot through one of the deer I got on camera. I shot through her shoulder, went through the femur on the one side, both side ribs, and then again on the other leg bone. And it kind of just broke underneath the skin on the other side. So pretty tough, you know, shot there and all that fun jazz, but went through her like butter. So I'm still shooting them. I'm pretty happy with them. All I did was call up Magnus and say, hey, look, this is what happened. And they sent me out. And actually, they sent me out a new pack, which is great. So I know they could have just sent me two. They probably could have told me just to kick rocks, but long story short, they didn't. They went a little bit above me on and just sent me a fresh pack, which I appreciate. I actually do sharpen them myself, so they come out of the package pretty good, but I like to put a little bit more of an edge on them. Sometimes, I don't know, it's just a confidence thing for me. So anyway, that's pretty well my 2023 season archery setup and review. If you guys are in the market for a new bow in the $800 and $900 range, I would suggest picking this up at your local shop and shooting it before you buy. I think it's a serious contender with all of the you know, Hoyt technology for not a huge price. Everybody that knows archery can get pretty expensive, and within a year it will you know, drop due to usage. So if you can even find a used one of these, be it relatively new and everything checks out, I'd still say pick it up if you can shoot one and you like it. So I shot this one, like I said, go and shoot what you got in your price range, but this is the one I ended up with, and hopefully it does me pretty well for the foreseeable future. But I'm just some guy on the internet telling you what I like. So anyway, thanks for clicking on this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something, and might consider yourself getting a Hoyt bow your next time you're in the market for one. Anyway, thanks for clicking on this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I said that twice. There's plenty of other videos on here, hunting, fishing, all that fun stuff. So if you guys like the channel, browse around on the videos some. We'll catch you out there on the next one.